Good afternoon to you all. Thank you so much for coming to this webinar called Rebuilding Income Streams. So before we go straight into it, I'd just like to introduce the Social Enterprise Academy. This is a learning entity, an entity that anchors its programs in learning all things about social enterprise. It's internationally headquartered in Scotland and has got several hubs around the world. In Africa, Zambia is one of the most, let me say, progressive hubs. And we have delivered programs in introducing social enterprise, enterprising leadership, understanding social enterprise, measuring social enterprise, and many more. In this digital age that we've come during this lockdown period, we have done several webinars, information webinars, where we have practitioner speakers who are in the social enterprise space. So today we are very happy to once again be hosting speakers who are in the social enterprise space, various fields of social enterprising, and they will speak with us directly about rebuilding income streams. What has happened during this COVID period, or what have they done? You know, how have they kept their head above the waters? This is what we're going to hear about from them. So without saying so much more, what I'm going to do is to let the speakers introduce themselves, and we will ask that while introducing themselves, they switch on their cameras. Unfortunately, Miss Chilambo is a little bit under the weather, so please excuse her for not having her camera on. In the meantime, Mushimbe has a little tech issue with her camera, but she'll try and switch it on as she speaks. So let me actually start with Mushimbe or Genevieve. Please introduce yourself in about 2 minutes.
I'm so happy to be here. I apologize for my technical difficulties. As you can see, I'm still frozen there, so I'll just turn off my camera. My name is Mushimbe Shiaka. I'm from within Kitwe. I grew up in a small area called Garneton, and the enterprise that I work for is called LifeSong. It's actually global. We're located in about 12 countries worldwide. And what our primary model is that we are an NGO, non-for-profit, and we basically assist those who are vulnerable. We have a school for approximately 400 OVCs, orphans and vulnerable children, who are supported by a local business. And our business is an agribusiness, and we primarily do berry farming. So if you see a strawberry in a store, there's a 60% chance that it's locally grown at LifeSong. So that's what we do. We have a farming business. We have a hydroponic farming system within Kitwe Garneton, and the proceeds and the profit from that go towards supporting these 400 orphans and vulnerable children from within the area. We sponsor all the way from nursery level up to tertiary level. I'm the operating manager. I also work in finance and HR. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mushimbe. That's a very succinct elevator pitch. We like it, and we're looking forward to hear more about how LifeSong has stayed on board. Please, can we go to Chilambwe, and then we'll come back to Moses.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to people. My name is Chilambo Mobalanga. I'm a founder of Telija Limited by Guarantee, a social enterprise that is into malnutrition. And because of this, we have made a porridge called the Mango Meal Mix Porridge, which helps especially pregnant women and children who are malnourished. Our main focus area is in the vulnerable communities. Here in Kitwe, especially where we started from, we started with children in Musonda and Chipata compounds. I'm sure the Kitwe residents are familiar with those areas. We had a total number of 40 children when we started. And after a period of 3 months, we saw so much improvement. That's what made us now get into, or rather put the pregnant women on board as well, so that we can try and cut down the numbers of malnourished children from birth. So that is what we're into. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. That's a whole different sector from berries, but mango mix definitely sounds like something I would love to try. And I'm sure a few more people would love to try it as well. So we will be getting your contact details after this. Moses.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Hello? Okay. Yeah, so I am Moses Mwansa.
We hear you clearly.
Good. Yeah. I was saying I'm Moses Mwansa, based in Kitwe. I'm co-founder and CEO of Village Savers Technology Limited. So this is more of a fintech, which is helping small-scale community-based savings initiative called Village Banking Groups digitize their savings by helping them with an app that is helping improve their record keeping, transparency, and also eliminate mistrust between the group members and the admins. This has been a big problem, especially in Zambia, where people don't trust themselves when it comes to savings. I have to mention that village banking initiatives are actually have actually been supported and have actually been commended by several institutions, including the Bank of Zambia, that they're actually promoting financial inclusion. So we thought we could support them by providing technology to them that will help them improve their management in terms of savings. I think that's my short introduction.
Thank you. So we have two people in food and we have one person in fintech, but all reaching some kind of impact and having some entrepreneurial activities. This is very interesting. So before we go into the actual panel discussions, I would like to invite our participants to please use the raise hand us if you can no longer see us, a question and answer session after the panel discussion. And so you will be able to use that right at the end of the program. But for now, we would like to focus on the discussion. We do have someone in the background to help with some tech issues. So once you raise your hand or once you type in the chat box or in the question and answer box, Ms. Rhoda will attend to you. Okay, so I do have one first question I think that we need to get out of the way before we delve deep into it. Let me just understand from Village Savers, what are your entrepreneurial activities? And have these entrepreneurial activities changed before March 2020 and now?
So our business model is centered on onboarding groups onto our system. So we've got an app that has an inbuilt database. So this database is what village banking groups are using to manage their finances, their savings. They give each other loans, so they use the database to manage their loans, their savings, basically financial transactions. So before, actually, we started Village Savers in 2019 September, I have to mention. Then it was officially launched in February 2020, a month before the Zambian breakout of the COVID pandemic. So after the launch, we had two products actually. We had an offline one where we would give our solution to village banking groups where they can use it offline. And then we had also an online platform, an app where we would onboard those that were technologically able to start using. So before like a month, when we just launched, it was good until there was a lockdown, and then we couldn't reach those who were engaging physically, and it was difficult for us to progress. It's like our business slowed down because we couldn't reach more people. Most of these people that we approached were requesting that we go to their meetings and talk to them, discuss with them, show them how the system works, show them how our solution works. But after the lockdown, we couldn't do that. And we had to start convincing them to start using tech, like using Zoom, Google Meets, or even on phone to engage them, which was a bit of a problem. And also they could not meet because every month once, these village banking groups used to meet to discuss how much they are savings and how much people are borrowing and so on. So it was a bit of a challenge after the outbreak of the pandemic. But later on, we gained traction again because people started adopting technology as a way of communicating. It's like COVID left us without a choice. So they started adapting, and then we could schedule a call on Zoom or Google Meet, and then we discuss. And so we kicked off, although it wasn't progress as expected, but we managed to come back on track and started onboarding our customers.
Sorry, I was speaking while on mute. I was saying that's a very interesting one. And it's certainly nice to learn that we as Zambians are not being left behind in terms of what has happened during the pandemic. And we're actually innovating using technology to reach vulnerable people and, just to continue on with our lives and actually have an impact. What about LifeSong? Can we hear from LifeSong? How has your social enterprise pivoted to absorb the shock caused by the pandemic?
Because our business, we are lucky, is primarily an essential good, so to speak, right? So when COVID came in, there was all that worry about certain businesses cannot continue because they are not essential in terms of transportation and movement. But because we provide fruit, which is a food and it's an essential good, we are lucky that we have not felt so much impact because we basically deliver to our clients. We produce the strawberries, they're grown here within Kitwe, and we transport them to our clients based in Lusaka and locally, that is your Freshmark, ShopRite, Pick and Pay and the like. But in terms of internally, we definitely have had to bring in a lot of procedures that employees are forced to follow, your typical, your mask wearing, your sanitizing, making sure your temperature is checked. We definitely had to make sure that all our hygiene standards were up to scratch. Even with our employees, we did not want to falter on that because of course your labor or your workforce is your highest, that's the most important part of any business. So we focus primarily on our people, made sure they're healthy, they're working well, they're following the guidelines. And then in terms of working with our clients, we are lucky that we are able to still supply because we're an essential good and it's literally just the truck delivers, it drops off the food, we come back. So we definitely have been lucky in that there has not been much of a change in our business and the way it works. So we're very lucky in that. But another thing that we've done, because we are supporting children, the orphans and the vulnerable children, we actually have brought in some cost-cutting methods in order for us to kind of sustain the dropped economy, because I think everyone's feeling the pinch. It would be a lie to say that everyone is at the same level they were before March 2020. So we have brought in internal measures for us to save money, to cut costs. For example, we are feeding over 400 children a day. So what we actually decided is that we would buy maize, local grain from the farmers within Garneton, and we would actually pay them a competitive rate in terms of what the milling companies are buying, buy the maize from them, and we mill it ourselves to produce the milling meal. And we actually saw a 40% reduction in our expenditure on milling meal alone. Because if you're feeding almost 600 people per day, you are using a lot of milling meal. So we definitely put in some internal cost-cutting measures that have assisted us to save money along the way.
Wow. That is quite innovative. And I think for anyone trying to start a social enterprise and thinking about 400 as a big number, Lifesong there has convinced us that there are things that can be done to absorb shock in terms of when there's a crisis. So well done to you, Lifesong. And I hope that this has definitely inspired people who want to get into it, or those that are already in and are wanting to, which Moses ran tech just outside of what we normally use on a day-to-day basis. Okay, this is good. So maybe this time let me start with Telijah, Ms. Chilambwe. What strategies have you put in place in order to keep generating an income for Telijah? Have you maintained the old? Have you adopted something new, or have you remained consistent in terms of how Telijah has been trading?
Hello, thank you for the question. Actually, what has happened, products is usually door to door mostly, and what we did was we decided to get people, like most of my clients were in the compound. I will pick an example of Chipata compound. So what we did was we identified about 3 ladies who know the other people that usually buy the porridge. So they would get orders from the friends there, usually via SMS, because most of them really don't have WhatsApp and all these other platforms. So then they'll bring the orders to us. Then we will give them the porridge itself, and then they'll take it, just for us to minimize on contact and not just to keep social distancing and all these other hygiene or what is it again? Yeah, what was the health guidelines, so to speak. So we decided to use that so that we don't have that thing of people coming to crowd when we take the porridge to them, and then there's no observation of social distancing and wearing of masks and everything. Because most of the people would say, no, if I wear a mask, I can't breathe and all that. But then that is not something that we can condone. Yes. Then the other thing that we did was we decided to get into other products just for us to sustain ourselves. So we had grown some onions just in the where our business is. So we were selling some onions just to keep ourselves afloat, because obviously the income that we were getting was not as much as it was before COVID struck. Because most people now were like, no, we don't have money, we have to concentrate on ABCD. So we had to bring in other income generating activities just to keep us afloat. And then besides the onions, we had we tried to get into, because our product is actually a combination of 4 things, which is millet, soya, mango, and powdered milk. So we decided to package soya on its own, the millet on its own, so that we could actually sell them also as just on their own without having the mix, because that also brought in quite a bit of money for us. So that is how we've managed to keep afloat. Thank you.
Wow. I love social enterprising. One of the reasons I love social enterprising is that you're not bound, or you are not imprisoned by not being innovative. It's like we're almost forced to be innovative because of the passion that we have to have an impact on our beneficiaries, you know. So I really like that, what you have said about even unpacking the product and serving them one by one. Did you sell them at a cheaper price, or were they sold for the same price as the mix, or how did that work? Quantities and so on.
Okay. The quantities were the same, because right now our packaged porridge, the mix of the porridge mix is actually only in 1 kg bags at the moment. So when we decided to separate it into, just the soya or the millet on its own, we had to obviously change the price. We couldn't sell it at the same price that we sell the mix for. So the price was a little bit reduced. But all the same, we managed to make at least, it still managed to keep us afloat, unlike selling it as a whole and then everything is not being so that, everything is not going as it is supposed to. So it actually gave us an idea of that we'll be doing both the mix and selling, individually like that.
Okay. And then, sorry to stay on Chilambwe quite a little bit. I'm finding this quite fascinating. And then on your beneficiaries, how have you been able to decide what to serve them? So are the malnourished children, for example, still being served the mango mix, or are they being served the soya or the other ingredient, or how has that worked on the beneficiary side?
Okay. On the beneficiary side, we have just continued to give them the mix because for them, they can't have one without the other. Then the health benefit of it will not be the same. That is why we actually came up with a combination, because before we put it on the market, we actually had to try and give them each of them just individually. And we saw that the impact was more when we did the mix. So for them, nothing has changed. They're still getting the product as it is supposed to. It's just on the enterprise side that we had to come up with those. Because remember, the enterprise side is what helps us maintain the social side. So that's where that's why we had to do that. And we had to concentrate on the children in schools mostly, because then we have a group of children in the same place at the same time, unlike going into their individual homes as before. Because the other approach that we're doing, especially on the pregnant women side, was that we were having sensitization classes where we'd call them, they'll come in, and then we have all these talks and stuff like that. But then because of the pandemic, we couldn't do that anymore. Yeah, so we decided to concentrate more on the children. And then as the year went on, there was that ease on the pandemic, at least. So we started going back to our usual sensitization programs for the women, but we used the clinics. This would meet them at the clinic where at least they would observe the health regulations and everything. So that's how we managed to tackle it.
Wow. So from my experience in meeting social entrepreneurs, it's actually close to impossible, probably even insulting, to ask a social entrepreneur to cut down on their number of beneficiaries or their service to beneficiaries, So this is what you have typically said, especially on the life song side and the Elijah side, So let me go back to Moses for the next question. As an entrepreneur, right? As a social entrepreneur, actually, you have an eye for opportunities. And in this case, you are blessed to have an eye for the enterprise side and the impact side. Okay. So what gaps may you have noticed during this pandemic that need to be filled and therefore can help someone generate an income or rebuild an income in the social enterprise space?
Thank you. So I think the biggest gap that we've had, especially with our business, is technology. Well, we have a big problem where technology, access to internet is concerned. And according to the Zikta report for 2019, which is the latest report, we have only about 53% of, I can't say population, connections, internet connections, as at the end of 2019. So this is worrying, meaning it's a big gap for us. Our total addressable market is big, but because now we can't use the physical contact with our clients, so we have to use technology, and this is actually hindering us addressing the other market which cannot access internet or technological gadgets like smartphones. So I think internet penetration has been one of the gaps that we've identified. And also in some places, there's like irregular internet, where we have bad internet connections, then also, I think also to do with, challenges to even buy data for some groups. So I think that is a gap that we've identified. But in terms of impact, I think if there can be an increase in access to internet and also access to technology, where people can have more platforms where they can actually access internet and access some of these digital platforms, I think we can actually make a lot of impact in social entrepreneurship as well as just business.
Okay, thank you. So there you go. For those of you that are listening and maybe have wanted to do something social entrepreneurial, but have not quite known where do I start from. There's a gap in technology and there's a gap in our knowledge use of internet. What can we use internet for? Okay. Okay. So then the same question would then apply to LifeSong. Maybe what gaps have you seen on the impact side and what gaps might you have seen on the enterprise side as an intrapreneur at LifeSong? Genevieve, what do you think?
Thanks, Chembo. I'd have to say that I agree with Moses because it's definitely technology. We're moving into a new way of life. And I think we were comfortable with that before the pandemic hit, but we've actually been forced to evolve as a nation. We do know that a huge part of us are not computer literate, but we're starting to see the shift. We see it also in government-based institutions, things like your NAPSA, your ZRA, everything's becoming online now. And I think because now we are literally separated as people, we are forced to use technology. We are forced to use the internet, everything from your PR to your advertising to your customer service. I can't remember the last time I had a meeting face-to-face with one of my clients. Everything is on Zoom, everything's on the phone, everything is via email. That is the world that unfortunately we're living in. It is a disadvantage, but if you look at it as an opportunity, I would definitely encourage anyone who's going to social enterprise, because primarily your beneficiaries in social enterprises are your lower income. So you'd want to empower them with that technologically savvy setup so that they can have that added advantage going forward, no matter what they're doing with their lives. But it is definitely imperative that we all know how to use technology. So I'd have to say it's the same as Moses, it's digital for sure. And if those gaps could be recognized and a service could be offered on a social platform, in other words, teaching people from rural areas, people who are in need, how to actually use the internet, how to actually log on, how to actually get access and to fund that. Because unfortunately we are forced. I don't think we have a choice anymore because of COVID. We are literally now in the technological age.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mushimbe. It makes a lot of sense. And I think that it's inevitable, yes. We do need to know how to use the internet, and we do need to educate those vulnerable people and teaching them how to, use the internet for better things. Internet doesn't end at Facebook. It doesn't end at YouTube. It doesn't end at WhatsApp. Or even if it ends there or starts there, what more can you use the WhatsApp and Facebook for? Yeah. So I like that. I really like that. Chilambo, might you have noticed anything? I actually only have 7 more minutes of questions, and there are 2 particular questions I'd like to cover. But Chilambo, might you have noticed any gaps or opportunities that have arisen during the pandemic, maybe outside of internet or digital literacy?
Hi, sorry. Hi. Well, most of it really is technology, but for me, it's not necessarily Facebook or whatever. What we have done is that I've encouraged them to at least send an SMS, because that one also is a bit of a problem. So I told them, even if you can't write proper English, at least just tell me 2 or 3 things like, oh, I need this amount of porridge or whatever. That has also helped a lot, because at least they have those little phones which can at least send a text message, because most of them don't have smartphones to do WhatsApp and everything. So that has helped. And then the other gap I've seen is on just general is the service delivery, which I can say probably like what Mushimbe said, what LifeSong does as in delivering, to their clients, probably delivering to one specific point, and then the people who are supposed to pick their product all come to that place and pick it up from there. Obviously, having the health guidelines in place. So that I think has also, there was a very big gap in that, because we all used to go to a shop and buy a product or go to a market and buy what one. But now at least we are learning to use different modes of accessing products that we need besides the internet, as in drop-offs and, things like that.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense as well. And I think it puts the cream on the cake that Moses and Mushimbe have baked. So I want to also just tap back into the nutrition topic. And this maybe is for both LifeSong and Elijah again. Nutrition is a timeless topic, but where there's a crisis, people are known to spend less on luxuries, whether they're nutritious or not, all of us, I think between March and December, or even March and now, have been on effortlessly without budget. How have LifeSong and Elijah made sure that people have continued to spend on their products and not anyone else's? Because definitely they've been substitutes. Definitely they've been just other alternatives or other things that people can enjoy outside of what you provide. How have you actually stayed on board with that?
Hello,
Would you
can
like
I
to
go?
go first, Elijah? Oh yeah, sure. Please go ahead, Elijah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, who's going first? Chilambwe or Genevieve?
Okay, I'll go first. I can go first. Genevieve, is that okay with you?
Yes, that's perfectly fine, Elijah. Please go ahead.
Okay, all right. Okay, our product rather is not necessarily classified as a luxurious product. Ours is more of a health product. So especially for the kids who are really, really malnourished, it works out as a kind of a, for lack of a better term, let me say medicine. They have to take it in order for them to improve on their health. So we have been affected, yes, in one way or the other, but it's not as bad as saying I'm not going to buy a piece of cake because I don't have enough money. I need to buy Millie Meal. You see, they need to take the porridge in order for them to survive, or rather to improve on their health. So there has been a bit of change in the sense that probably we can't get to all the people that used to buy from us initially, but then they are still buying the product. So that's what I would say. I don't know if that answers your question. Hello?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yes,
okay.
We heard you. We heard you perfectly. Thank you. It makes sense.
Because my internet is playing up here, so okay.
No, we heard you. Mushimbe, go for it.
The good that we do with I'm glad that Elijah used the phrase luxury good, because the truth is when your pocket is pinched, the first thing you think about is what can you cut out in your budget. We are all forced to become budgetarians in inverted commas. So with us and the good that we supply, I think generally speaking, because it's not an indigenous fruit, it's definitely viewed as a luxury. I don't think strawberries are like mangoes where you just, you can pick them from a tree, you can find them anyhow. So we've definitely had to look at that and our models going forward. So what we did was we are in the growth phase of our business. We've been around for a couple of years. So we did not want to emphasize getting new clients just yet. We're looking for stability because right now there's a lot of instability within the market, within the nation, within the world as a whole. So what we're trying to do is we're maintaining our existing clients, because in business, it's actually easier to maintain an existing client than to find a new one. And what we've done is we've introduced what we call price locks. Price blocks, just like the way they do on DSTV, we go to our biggest clients and we say to them, initially in the past, we would have what we'd call monthly pricing. We'd sign our supplier agreements, we'd go into it, and every month we were able to adjust or shift our prices. But this season, particularly last year, we decided as top management that we'd give our top clients a price lock or seasonal pricing. So instead of shifting our pricing every month, we shift it every 6 months. So all the people who buy from us, the big companies, your Freshmark, your Pick and Pay, they are guaranteed that they will continue to buy the product at the same price for the next 6 months. That incentivizes them to keep buying from us, and it also incentivizes them to buy quantities. So that has worked pretty well for us from our end, and we're very lucky that it's actually worked out. And in terms of our input side, because we do have a business to run and we have overheads as well, we've done the exact same thing from our suppliers. So our inputs for our farming, our fertilizer, our hydroponic system parts, we actually also have negotiated with our suppliers to say, for example, we get our fertilizer from Omnia. So we said to them, Omnia, we're going to buy from you. We've been buying from you. We have an existing business relationship. What pricing can you give us for the next 6 months so that we are paying a constant? Because they actually charge in dollars. So we actually happen to be able to negotiate a price in kwacha, which has helped quite a lot looking at the dollar kwacha exchange rate and the instability there. So they actually agreed and negotiated that they'll give us a fixed price for the same period. So we're actually saving on our inputs, and we're also ensuring that we have our clients buying because they're happy with the deal we've made on the price, the fixed pricing. So on both sides, we're actually getting some income coming in and maintaining that, and also saving on the input side. And I guess that's the beauty of business. You can always negotiate, you can always use your voice, regardless of the size of your business. It never hurts to enter a negotiation or a discussion, because the truth is we've all had to adapt. And that's the name of the game.
That's the name of the game. I'm so loving this, and I still have so many more questions, but my time is up and I have to give the audience a chance to ask. So those of you that are listening in, please post your question in the question and answer box. I will read it out for you. If you want to direct the question to a particular person, please mention the person that you would like to answer. Otherwise, I'll just throw it out there. But Chilambwe Moses Mushimbe, everything that you've talked about makes so much sense. The innovations, it's exciting. So I have one question in here, and I guess this one is particularly for Moses, but anyone can come in and answer it. 53% penetration, I think they're talking about penetration of internet usage, is huge. What's your targeted internet penetration? Yes, I think that's for Moses.
Okay, yeah, I think I saw that question in the chat from Mr. Movita. Yes, that penetration is good, but it doesn't mean it's 53% of the population actively using the internet. If we go deeper and try to find out active users of internet, actually we'll find that out of the 18 million, we only have about 17%, 17 to 20% of the population using the internet actively. So that is a small number when you look at our line of business. When you look at the FSD report on village banking groups in Zambia, you realize that we have over 23,000 village banking groups in Zambia, and almost 40% are actually in town, okay? The rest are in rural areas where access to internet is a problem. So our total addressable market is actually the 23,000 which are available. And for us to reach those that do not have internet, it's difficult, especially in these challenging times where we have the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, if we didn't have the pandemic, we would have been maybe going and physically offering this solution to them. But now we have to rely on internet. We have to rely on online platforms to reach our customers. So imagine only about 40% are what we have currently. And for us to grow our customer base, we need to also address the other people that are not using internet. So that is the challenge I was talking about. So the 53 is the connections and just penetration, internet penetration. It's not like the active usage of internet. I hope I've answered Mr. Mwita's question.
I think you have. Mr. Mwita will post if the response is not clear. Are there any other questions from the audience? Please feel free to post your question in question and answer. But while you were speaking, Moses, I was just wondering, the chilimbas that I know outside of tech, okay, outside of fintech, there are some trust issues in there. And you mentioned that this is the problem that you're trying to solve. How are you ensuring that people trust Village Savers to solve this problem of trust for them?
All right, thank you. I think prior to us starting this initiative, actually we did, personally, I joined one village banking group, and then we had this pain of mistrust. We had this pain of miscalculation of, money savings from the people that were administering the group. And that's how I and my colleague came up with a system that could help. At first, we created a spreadsheet that was automated, and we locked, the formulas, and then we sold this to a few groups, and then they liked it. So we thought maybe if we can actually create an app for this, it would actually instill confidence in the groups and also the members. That's how we came up with Village Savers. And then we created an app, which is a web app where all the members in the group can actually download it on Android or iPhone or any other, store, where they can actually put it on their phone, on their computer, and in real time, they can actually be monitoring what is changing on their savings. If the admin changed something, they'll be able to tell. And then the advantage is that this is an automated system that we have. So they will have the confidence to say no one is actually manipulating the figures. No one is, maybe stealing money and taking it elsewhere, and then just showing them something that is not a true representation of what they really saved. So I think it has, our system improves, gives transparency among the groups. It also improves record keeping, and also it eliminates human error since it's an automated system. So for those that have tried our system, they're actually appreciating it, because now they don't have that thing where they would say the admin is going to steal our money, or maybe the formulas that they've put in Excel are not correct, so they are actually misdirecting some of the money to their own accounts.
Yeah. Okay, so while we're on you, Moses, there's yet another question for you. I hope that we're expecting more questions that will be directed to the ladies. But Moses, here's a question for you. How easy is it to digitalize village banking, considering the low literacy levels of most women? So if, say, you want to target rural women or marketeer women, how easy is that for you?
Yes. So this is the same answer that I was giving to Mr. Mwita, who said 53% of internet penetration is good. On the contrary, because even within the cities where there's steady internet, some sections of the societies, and mostly our clients who are actually active on these groups, they don't have access to proper internet. So that is a challenge. Now, to avert that challenge, we've actually come up with a code, a USSD code, okay, which any phone, even a small phone like my small Zamtel phone, can actually use. So they can just press star 224 and they'll be able to check how much money they've saved, how much it has grown, how much interest they've gained, how much loan they have. So we also have something for those people that have no access to smartphones or computers. We have a USSD code for them, and they can as well monitor their financial transaction using that code.
Yeah, I think I do tend to agree with you on that one. I think the way we talk about literacy levels now, I think that the number of people who are but who are totally illiterate are much fewer. So people can now use a basic phone. They can read basic numbers, 1, 2, 3, and the basic alphabet as well. So I understand what you're saying, and I'm with you on that one. Okay, we have one more question. And then in the next 5 minutes, I think we could probably cover 1 or 2 more other questions. The question here is, your organization is non-profit. How easy is it to generate income for sustainability? Thinking about 400 children in school, what are your revenue models? I think this question is probably for Life Song. Oh, no, sorry. It says it's a question for Talija. But maybe the person who has asked might have come in a little bit later. I think Mushimbe is the one that talked about 400
Yes.
children in school. Yeah. So could you please talk a little bit again about the person in case they missed it, about your revenue model? How do you
Okay.
actually generate your income?
Okay, yes. So as mentioned in the intro, it is a non-for-profit organization, but what we've done, and it's the same in all 12 countries that we're based in globally, is for every school that we support for the overseas, we have a business alongside which supports and sustains. So for us here in Zambia, that would be our strawberry farm. So we actually are able to generate enough revenue that will support the orphans because it's non-for-profit. So all the sales and the revenue that we make, last year, if I remember correctly, we made in excess of 1.3 million kwacha we generated in sales. So all that money actually goes towards the school and sustaining the kids in the school. And then on top of that, the monies that we do make, we do have small projects within as the staff size. Our staff size is about 134, 35. We actually do have different projects within that help us to generate more income. For example, we have a mechanics school, a vocation school that we're opening soon to the public. So we actually teach skills there for the same children that we help and benefit, but they're able to bring in, for example, a client who wants to fix their car, get it checked out. We have workshops, we have a mechanic store for that, and they will pay income for that. And in the same vein, we also have a vegetable garden where we do grow vegetables. Initially, that was actually brought in just to sustain the school and the staff. So we have a vegetable garden, your simple indigenous vegetables, your chihuahua, your whatever, your cabbage. But what we've decided is the excess is actually sold off. And one of our clients is Pick and Save at Copper Hill within Quito, which is very nearby. So any excess we have, we do sell and we do gain income from that. So all the monies that we make are used to fund the school, but also to reproduce in different projects that we have. But it's not just a matter of receiving money from donors and sponsors. We totally refuse to go by that because as we all know, that's not sustainable. So
Okay.
we always encourage other ventures to actually generate more income with the sales we make from the farm.
Okay. Wow. That's a powerful thing that you've talked about, because this is, as we're saying, this is rebuilding income streams. And as social entrepreneurs, we shouldn't be limited. We should actually be adopting business practices of mainstream entrepreneurship. And because we know that our profit or majority of our profit goes back into having an impact, there's no need why we should hold back on the enterprise side of things. And, you know, just on the number of our beneficiaries or even more. There's a question for Chilambwe, and then there's a simpler question for Moses again. So before I go to Chilambwe's question as the last one, Moses, someone from Facebook is asking how they can get in touch with Village Savers. So if you don't mind, all three of you actually, if you don't mind, let me know and I can share your contact details with our network in case they would like to buy some of your products. You know, it's very nice to have people support you in that way. And they won't only be supporting for the sake of supporting, they'll be supporting because there's an impact attached to it. Okay, so the last question we're tackling is for Ms. Chilambwe. In the number of years you have been in existence, how have you managed to strike a healthy balance between your mission and money? How have you ensured that your business side sustains your mission? Wow, that's a good one.
Sorry.
Your internet is great.
My internet is a bit bad. I don't know whether you can hear me. It keeps going on and off. Hi.
Okay, now
Hello?
it's fine.
Okay.
Now it's fine.
Yeah. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you. It's fine now.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. Can you just repeat the last part of the other question? You asked me to. Hello, can you hear me? Hey. Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. The last that your business side. Uh-oh, we have lost out. This
Yes,
is a
I
really
can.
good. Okay, did you hear the question or do you want me to read it out again?
I think read it out again.
Okay. In the number of years that you have been in existence, how have you managed to strike a healthy balance between your mission and money? How have you ensured that your business side sustains your mission? Oh, unfortunately, I think Ms. Chilambwe's internet is not great at the moment. Chilambwe, are you there? You're on mute right now. Are you there?
Hello.
Okay.
Am I clear now? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. You can go for it now.
Okay. The first one was striking a balance between my mission and I didn't get the last part. That's when
between your business and your mission. They're just talking about balancing your impact and the enterprise side of things. How do you?
Hello.
Do that. Hello.
Hello. Hi. Okay. So on
Hello.
the enterprise
it is not
side,
allowing us.
Hello. I can hear you.
Yes. Okay. Go for it.
I'm saying. Yes. I'm saying what on the enterprise side we sell porridge, which is our main product, the mango meal mix porridge. So the income that we get from that from those sales is what we use to support the social side of things. But as I explained earlier, because of COVID, we haven't been able to reach our targets in terms of selling of the porridge. That is why we engaged in the other activities such as the onion selling, which I talked about, and the other project which we started now is the village chickens, in order for us to have that income that is able to sustain on the other side. But besides that, we have some people who've come on board. I have one person in the UK who has a foundation there. So what he has done is that he's buying porridge from me on a larger volume, so to speak, which goes to the children on the social side, especially the school feeding program that I talked about. That is what has really helped us. Because what we did was, when we had the discussion, I told him the number of kids that we have on the program pay 3 months, which is about like 60 children from a school. So he buys for all the 60 kids, like 2 packets per month for each of them. So that is how we've managed to keep selling our porridge. So instead of going out into, other areas to try and find people to buy, or the shops and things like that. We have tried to get into the chain stores, but we're still waiting for them to get back to us. Because the volume is what really keeps us going, because then we know we have such and certain amount of money coming in, so we can do, maybe instead of 60 kids in a month, we can do 120 or 180 or whatever, in order for our numbers to go up. So this is what we've done. We've engaged other people who have come on board, kind of like they've now become like partners of Elijah. That's how we've managed to keep us going.
Wow.
I don't know if I've answered in full.
Wow, I think you have. I think you have. Okay, this has been really, really interesting for me. And unfortunately, we're coming towards the end of our good webinar. And I hope that one day, somewhere, we can meet and just have these discussions and continue having people learn more about social enterprise business models, how it works, what we do, and how we actually stay afloat. So at this point, I'm actually going to give each of the panelists, starting with Chilambwe, while we still have you and good internet, to give us just some closing remarks, some words of encouragement, and I think I would like you to really focus and fine tune how people can rebuild their income streams. What should they be doing? What should they be looking out for in order to stay afloat? So we'll go from Chilambwe to Moses to Mushimbe.
Okay. Hi. I think the most important thing, I'll speak from my own experience, is having other activities besides the main activity that you're involved in. Like I mentioned for Elijah, if we had just stuck to just selling porridge and not getting into the onions or trying the village chickens, it would have been very difficult, because seriously, to get to the people that we used to get to all the time, has become quite difficult. Obviously, and since most of our clients, as I explained before, are in the low income areas and such, and our friends sometimes don't understand the impact of a pandemic. I can give an example from people that work at my house. When I explain to them what COVID is, they'll tell me, oh, it's not for us, it's for rich people. And all. So their mindset is not totally changed, that they're kind of like still not believing that there's a pandemic and this is what is going on. So the best thing that any business can do right now is to try and get into other products as well, which are selling, and also to concentrate also on partnering with other people doing probably the same thing or different things, but who can help you sustain your business. Like I explained, I got a partner in the UK who's buying at least a larger amount. So I know that with this income that is coming from this person is going to sustain my social side. So I think that's it. We have to have a mindset of not just sticking to what you're supposed to be doing, but you need to be innovative. You need to think outside the box. You need to tap into other areas which probably you didn't even think of doing in the first place. Because when a pandemic hits, I'm sure we've seen that a lot of people have gone into different things that they didn't even think of in the first place. But then you need to have all these survival skills and modes and all these things going on. And especially the use of social media. It has really, really helped in a lot of ways. So for me, I think that's what needs to be done. And also value addition, like the way I have split my product into 3 instead of just 1. I think that has also helped me a lot. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. That is encouraging. Mushimbe?
I think for me, my encouragement to social entrepreneurs out there, businesses, is that,
No, sorry,
you
it's
know,
Moses.
yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, so I was saying, I think my few words of encouragement, social entrepreneurs out there, even just businesses, is that, you know, we need to be agile in the way we manage our businesses. We need to be quick in adapting to change, because let's face it, we are not going to run away from what has come. We just need to adopt technology, and we need to innovate for us to survive in these challenging times, especially if your business is not a tech-based business, it's not an online-based business. Amazon was selling books, okay? But right now they've got AWS, okay? It's, don't shift from your vision, but you can actually change a strategy in which you actually execute your vision. So you need to adopt new strategies to, you know, executing your vision, and also to growing your business. So for me, whether you are in agriculture, whether you are in any other industry, mining, everywhere, you need to adopt new technology that will actually help you grow, especially in these times where you can't really go and meet people, maybe sit on a round table and discuss business. So you really need to be technological biased so that you get the best out of um, what is there to offer right now in this COVID era. I think that's all for me.
Said,
Okay,
I
thank you.
definitely. Sorry, Tembo. May I go ahead?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Just to add on to what Elijah and Moses have said, for sure, the main thing to take away is adaptation, for sure. We all know the saying, adversity breeds innovation. We have reached a time where we have to think outside the box. We have to adapt and evolve with what's happening, you know, around us. And for sure, diversification, again, if you stick to one thing, it's business 101. You have to rely on different sources of income. Always encourage your people, your organizations to branch out and to do different things, because you can't depend on one thing or put all your eggs in one basket. And then from my end, something that I personally live and work and do is we need to learn to use our local resources, for sure. I think even just the phrase charity begins at home. If you are a social enterprise, chances are you're empowering lives. So you start where you are. Our organization, literally all the children we have are from within Garneton. Our staff, about 90% are also from within Garneton. So it's literally about a 5-kilometer radius that all the people that we aid, we assist, we work with, we are involved with, all come from within the same area. And as a result, it actually helps to build the community as well. And it doesn't matter how big or how small, the point is just to start. If you have the intention, there'll always be a way. So yeah, and another last thing I just want to add is negotiate. I think in every enterprise or business, do not be afraid to speak, to ask. That's what business relationships are about. Never be afraid to try to get good bargains, to negotiate pricing. That is what business relationships are about. You build a relationship, and therefore you have a flow or a space where you can speak and ask for things. And I promise you, 90% of the time, a lot of these large businesses are into CSR, and they love to help and they love to involve communities. And chances are it will be a yes. And if it's not a yes, you'll get a yes from somebody else. So just keep pushing and never give up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been such a pleasure to have you. I think this is such a nice way to launch into the more active parts of the year, you know, and I think I can most likely guarantee you, speakers, that you've touched and inspired someone that is listening to carry on either with what they dream about or what they already started and maybe have struggled to move forward with. And just hearing from you, even I feel very inspired, and the things that I've taken away from this that I don't think I would have gotten from anywhere else. So this marks the end of our webinar. As mentioned earlier, this is the Social Enterprise Academy, Zambia. You're most welcome to follow us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter. There you will find most of our learning programs. At the moment, they're actually free, and we will be having a program this March. So look out on our Facebook, on our social media pages, and find out what it is exactly we're doing. Thank you so, so much for joining us. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate you. And for those of you that have asked where to find Village Savers, where to find Elijah's mango mix, we will let you know about that. We just need to talk to our speakers about where exactly they would like where and how they would like strawberries, blueberries in our main chain stores here in Zambia. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant day. And to you speakers, all the best with your continued work and everything that you're doing to impact the lives of vulnerable people in Zambia. Bye.
Thank you so much, Tembo. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.